Hello, welcome to my crochet tutorial number 7. In this tutorial today we're going to learn how to make a double crochet. The last tutorial we learned how to make a single crochet. So if you've been following my tutorials, we're going to pick up where we left off. So back a couple of videos ago, I taught you how to make a starting chain for your project. So we're going to use the same starting chain again. So this is 20 chains that I have here. And to start a double crochet, you always want to go in to the 4th chain from your hook. So we don't count the one that's on our hook here. The next one is your first one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. You want to work into that loop. So what we do is, to begin your double crochet, you want to yarn over, and then you want to go into your 4th chain from the hook, pull up a loop, so yarn over and come back out of that stitch. Now you should have 3 loops on your chain, or on your hook. This is the original loop that you had there, and then these 2 you just made by doing what you did. So we're going to yarn over again, and you're going to go through 2. Now you've got 2 more loops left on your hook. Yarn over one last time and pull through those 2. And that is your first double crochet. So if you had watched my last video on the single crochet, you might remember me telling you about when you go into the 2nd chain from your hook, when you're using a single crochet, how the chain that you skipped counts as your turning chain. Well, that is the same thing here with this double crochet. You skipped those 3 chains because that counts as your very first double crochet. So unless your pattern says otherwise, you are always going to count your chain 3 as your first stitch. So if we were looking at this in terms of counting our stitches, we would actually have 2 double crochets right now. That does not happen when you do a single crochet, because the single crochet is a much smaller stitch. So you can see that this is taller. This is about double the size of a single crochet, just this one stitch here. And the reason that you have to do that chain is to basically get yourself to that height of your stitch, so that way that when you work on the next row, that you're already up to the height of where your stitches are going to be, which I know sounds really confusing, but we'll go over that more. So for right now, I want you to just really practice on learning the steps of how to make the double crochet. So you want to start with a yarn over, you go into your next chain, which would be right here. So we're going to go in, and you can always use your finger on your right hand to keep these loops back so that they don't fall off when you go into your next chain. Yarn over, pull a loop back out. Now we've got 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, back to 2 loops on your hook here. Yarn over again, pull through the last 2. So once again, yarn over, go into your next stitch, yarn over again, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Let's do one more together. Yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over again, and come out. 3 loops there on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you're going to continue doing this all the way down until you get to your very last stitch, the very last chain stitch there. So if you want to work on that, and then meet me back here and we'll continue. Okay, welcome back. So I have worked down this entire row here, and I have one more stitch left. So we're going to work this one together. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, come out, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2 again. Now, this stitch count is going to be different than your single crochet stitch count, because when we very first started this, we went for the 4th chain from your hook, so you skipped 3 chains. So we're not going to have 19 stitches like we did with the single crochet. So let's count these together. The very first chain 3 counts as a stitch with double crochet, and that is always the case unless your pattern says otherwise. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We have 18 double crochets here. So we've reached the end of our row, and now what we're going to do is make our turning chain. So you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. You're going to turn your work, and now instead of going back into that very first stitch, you're actually going to go into the second stitch, because the chain 1 is going to count as your first double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, and I like to use my thumb to mark where I need to go in at. It just kind of helps me. So we're going to go right into this stitch here, the second V, and make another double crochet. So as you can see, the double crochet is a much bigger stitch than the single crochet. It is double the size, and it is double, the height. So that's why you need this chain to pull you up to that height for your next row. I learned double crochet first. That was the first stitch that I ever learned, was a double crochet, and then I kind of worked backwards and learned a single crochet and a half double crochet. I tend to use double crochet the most out of any stitch. It seems like most patterns will call for a double crochet. So this is a stitch that you want to get yourself really familiar with. It's not going to look perfect when you very first start. It probably will look incorrect, and you might have different stitches that are coming up different sizes. One's larger than the other one, one's looser than the other one. So in the beginning stages of this, you just really want to make sure that you're getting down how to make the stitch, how to execute it. So you want to go over the steps of yarn over, go in, yarn over, come out, yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over, go through 2 again. You want to just keep practicing that, and you can always pull your work out if you're not happy with what you did. You can always pull your work out and start over again. So I suggest just kind of getting used to how to make all these different stitches first, getting the mechanics down of how to actually make them, and then working your way up to your first project. So my very first project was actually this scarf here, and I have a group of ladies that comes over to my house, and we all sit and we crochet together once a month. And there's a few ladies that are beginners that have just started, and so they like to ask questions and things, and learn things from me, since I've been crocheting for a couple years now. So I wanted to share this with you because I shared this with them when they were over last week. This is actually my very first project. This is a scarf that I made out of all double crochet. It's just double crochet the whole time. And I just wanted to show it to you, to show you that, your first project, I was so proud of this project when I finished it. But looking back at it now, I can see all the mistakes. There is a lot of problems with the edges. Let me see if I can pick up the camera here and kind of show you guys. My edges are not straight. There's these little parts here that bump out, and that is because I did not count my stitches correctly. So that's what happens if you have an extra stitch or not enough stitches. Your edges are going to kind of like wave. So you want to make sure that you count your stitches after every row, make sure that you've got the right number of stitches that you should have. And, you know, this is just a really good example of when you're first starting, it's not going to be perfect. In fact, these stitches, I was actually going into the wrong place. Instead of going in that V like I showed you, I was going into the space between the stitches. And once I figured out that I was doing that, then I kind of fixed it once I got more near the end. So you can see here at the end of the project that this looks a lot more neat and organized as compared to the beginning here. So just thought that that might be helpful for you to see that, you know, I had my first project too, and as proud as I was of it, it's not something that I would wear now, and everybody has to start somewhere. So hopefully these videos are really helping you to get on your way to making your very first project. Any questions or comments, please leave them below. You can also look me up on Facebook at facebook.com/sistersuz, SISTERSUZ crochet. That's my Facebook page, so you can get a hold of me if you're looking for any kind of projects or just have questions or comments or anything like that. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.